There comes a moment when loyalty turns lethal, when former allies become enemies, and behind every smile is a power play. This is one of those moments. Elon Musk and Donald Trump were once considered an unlikely duo, the futurist tech titan and the fiery political strongman. But behind the headlines and handshakes was a relationship built on ambition, not alignment. And now it's erupting for the world to see. Allegations, betrayals, accusations so nuclear they've set the internet and Wall Street on fire. Today, we break down what really happened between Musk and Trump and what their falling out says about power, ego, politics, and the soul of leadership in 2025. Because this ain't just billionaire drama, it's a wake-up call. Immediate market fallout. Let's talk numbers first. Tesla, once valued at over $900 billion, saw a 14% drop in share price in just under a week. That's over $150 billion in shareholder value gone, with no new product scandal, no regulatory violation, just the wrath of public perception. Trump Media and Technology Group, parent company of Truth Social, already volatile on the market, took an 8% hit after Elon's threats to launch a competing people's platform and alleged exposure of federal favoritism in Trump's tech dealings. SpaceX investors grew skittish, wondering if Elon's political fights could jeopardize government contracts or Pentagon ties. Meanwhile, NASDAQ analysts downgraded both Tesla and TMTG for the month, citing unpredictable leadership behavior as a key factor. Let's pause there, because what this means is simple. The emotional decisions of two men had the power to impact retirement funds, tech portfolios, and institutional investment firms. That is not just instability. That's systemic vulnerability. Public sentiment turns. As the markets crumbled, so did the public's patience. Comments poured in across platforms. This is why we don't trust billionaires with our future. Y'all see now? These men don't care about you. They care about control. Tesla, just another tool for white male power flexing. I'm out. People started deleting apps, canceling Tesla orders, and questioning whether either man had ever actually stood for the people they claimed to serve. And for many Black and brown communities, this was confirmation, not surprise. Because the real gag is these men were never allies to the people. They were allies to power. And when that power dynamic shifted, their truth became unstable. The Anatomy of Betrayal. What we're witnessing between Elon Musk and Donald Trump is not just a power struggle. It's not just a Twitter war. It's not just a political fallout. It's a masterclass in betrayal. The kind that isn't about sudden backstabbing, but slow, deliberate, unraveling. Let's talk about what betrayal really looks like. Not in theory, in real life, in real relationships, in real time. Let's get honest about power dynamics. Here's the part many people avoid. Most betrayals don't happen between equals. They happen in imbalanced dynamics, where one person holds more power, more influence, more access, and expects the other to stay in their place. That was Trump and Musk. One expected deference. The other decided he was done shrinking. In our own lives, that shows up too. That friend who loved being the strong one until you started speaking up. That mentor who supported you until your shine started making them feel insecure. That boss who championed you until your opinions became too confident. When dynamics shift, the relationship is tested, and most people don't pass. When loyalty doesn't go both ways, so many of us have been there. You were the one who took their late night calls when no one else would listen. You promoted their business before they ever asked. You gave them advice they didn't even know they needed. You watched them win and clapped louder than they did. And then one day, they stopped calling, or they started copying, or they outgrew you. But not in maturity, just in loyalty. That's what happened between Elon and Trump. Two people who rode momentum together, made money together, made noise together. But when values clashed and attention shifted, the relationship cracked. One felt used, the other felt betrayed. Sound familiar? Friendship expiration dates? Here's the truth that nobody likes to talk about. Some friendships have expiration dates, and the only reason they lasted as long as they did is because you were the one constantly renewing the bond. When Musk began pulling away, speaking up, questioning policy, it wasn't just business. It became personal. When Trump reacted publicly, aggressively, and emotionally, it wasn't just politics. It was ego. We've all been in a version of that. Maybe it wasn't broadcast to millions, but you felt it. The friend who turns cold after you get that promotion. The sibling who's supportive until you start winning in ways they're not. The colleague who once praised you, but now critiques everything you do. And here's the kicker. You didn't change. They just couldn't handle who you were becoming. Emotional red flags that we ignore. Let's be honest. Most falling outs don't come out of nowhere. There were signs. We just didn't want to see them. They were competitive in subtle ways. They only supported you publicly, never privately. They joked about your progress, but something about it never felt funny. They didn't clap when you launched. They went quiet when you finally found peace. But because we're conditioned to be loyal, we let it slide. We explain it away. We say, that's just how they are, until it finally blows up. What happened with Trump and Musk wasn't sudden. It was slow erosion. And that's what many of us have been through. A slow, quiet betrayal that feels louder than a scream. When you're no longer useful, let's talk about the hardest part. Being discarded once your usefulness expires. In any relationship, friendship, romantic, or professional, there are people who aren't there for you. They're there for the version of you that benefits them, the support you gave, the proximity to your influence, the way your presence made them feel more relevant, seen, or validated. And the moment you stop performing that role, they distance themselves. Or worse, they retaliate. Sound familiar? You stop giving advice, and they disappear. You set a boundary, and they label you difficult. You evolve past the dynamic, and suddenly, you're the villain. That's what Elon experienced. And that's what Trump couldn't tolerate. Because some people don't want partners. They want props. They want mirrors, not truth tellers. When loyalty is one-sided, let's unpack this. Loyalty is only beautiful when it's mutual. If you're the only one defending, protecting, promoting, and checking in, that's not loyalty. That's emotional labor with no return. And we do this all the time. We defend people who won't defend us. We promote people who don't even say thank you. We show up for people who vanish when it's our turn to need support. Trump expected loyalty from Musk, even when Musk no longer agreed with the mission. But here's the rule. Loyalty is not submission. If I can't speak my truth around you, if my identity has to shrink to keep your ego comfortable, then we are not aligned. We are performing. The cost of outgrowing someone. Here's what most people don't prepare you for. Outgrowing people costs peace. It costs history. It costs comfort. It costs that. But we've known each other for years. Bond that makes you second guess your evolution. But here's the thing. Growth will cost you people who only knew how to love the older version of you. And that's okay. Let them go. Elon and Trump's fallout is just a public version of what so many of us have lived privately. Friendships that start strong, end ugly. Business partners turned rivals. Best friends turned bitter observers of your success. The names are different, but the lessons are the same. What we're learning from this feud, here's what this whole saga teaches us. Not just about power, but about people. Not everyone grows with you. Some people only love the version of you that they could manage. Friendships built on convenience crumble in discomfort. When pressure comes in, so does truth. Boundaries reveal everything. The moment you stop people pleasing, you'll find out who actually respects you. Real friends can challenge you without punishing you. Trump and Musk couldn't handle conflict without destruction. That's not friendship. That's control. Silence is a decision. If they're quiet when you're being dragged or struggling, believe them. Letting go with clarity, not bitterness. Now listen, letting go doesn't have to mean bitterness. It doesn't have to mean revenge or mess. Sometimes letting go simply looks like changing how much access someone has. Removing emotional investment from a dynamic that no longer feeds you. Choosing to grieve what could have been while walking into what is. You don't need to prove they were wrong. You don't need to announce the separation. You don't owe them closure. They weren't mature enough to initiate. Sometimes you just grow and they go. And that's that. Life point reflection. Let's close this section with a clear, grounded truth. Not every falling out is a failure. Sometimes it's a reveal. Who people become when your light shines. When you disagree, when you start walking in your purpose, that's who they always were. You just couldn't see it before. So if you're in a season of releasing, if you're watching old connections fade, if you're feeling hurt by someone you once celebrated, just know you're not crazy. You're just clear now. And clarity always comes before elevation. Life point reflections. Let's bring this full circle. After all the political drama, the tweets, the market drops, and the headlines, here's the most important truth. This isn't just about Elon Musk and Donald Trump. This is about you and how you prepare for what's coming next. Because whether you pick a side or stay neutral, there are consequences either way. And some of those consequences won't just be social or emotional, they'll be economic. The recession is coming, and it's coming fast. Let's be real. A recession is not on the horizon. It's already walking through the door. Whether you're watching the news or just paying attention to your grocery bill, you can feel it. Prices are rising. Jobs are shifting. Investment markets are shaky. Major companies are cutting back. And no matter what these billionaires are arguing about publicly, one thing is certain. They'll be fine. We won't be unless we prepare. And I want to say this very clearly. This has nothing to do with me being a spiritualist. This is just common sense and long-term awareness. My life prep list, not panic, just smart. I've been preparing for this quietly, intentionally, and you should be too. Here's what I'm doing and what I suggest you start doing now. Cut unnecessary spending. This is not the time for showboating, stunting, or flex culture. Save your money. Period. Start a garden. Even if it's just herbs, tomatoes, or a small indoor kit, start growing something. Fresh food is going to be one of the most valuable things you can control. Buy in bulk, smartly. Stock up on shelf-stable goods. Not in fear, but in foresight. Get your paperwork in order. Check your credit. Know your assets. Organize your documents. And protect your home. Don't depend on unstable systems. If you can learn a trade, monetize a skill, or start something digital, start now. Side hustles aren't just about passion anymore. They're about security. This is bigger than politics. It's about survival. Whether you agree with Musk or Trump, whether you vote left, right, or independent, whether you stay out of the conversation altogether, the consequences are already being felt. And they won't care who you liked or retweeted. The economy is shifting fast. So don't get so caught up in their feud that you forget to protect your own future. This isn't fear. This is facts. And if you're listening to this podcast, I know you're the kind of person who's ready to move different. Final reflections. Let this settle in. The loudest people aren't always the most prepared. Protect your peace and your pockets. This is your time to recalibrate. Clean up your money. Say no to wasteful spending. Grow your own food. Educate your kids and protect your elders. Use your voice wisely. And remember, you're not powerless. Just because billionaires are fighting doesn't mean you have to lose. Make moves now so you're not blindsided later. If today's episode spoke to you, moved you, or reminded you that it's time to move differently, don't just sit with it. Act on it. Subscribe to this channel for more real conversations that blend insight, truth, and emotional clarity. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it, especially if they're distracted by the noise and need to get grounded again. Start making quiet power moves. Trim your spending. Get your systems in order. Grow something. Build something. Align with people who respect your growth. We are entering a new season, and it's not about panic. It's about preparation. No matter who's feuding at the top, you still have the power to protect your peace, your finances, and your future. Stay connected and join the movement website, lifepointswithronda.com. Podcast, Life Points with Ronda, available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and all platforms. YouTube, Life Points with Ronda. Email, lifepointswithronda@gmail.com. Social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at Life Points. With Ronda Patreon. Join the Life Points Lounge at all access tiers for exclusive content behind the scenes extras, and extended audio comment below. And let me know, what did this episode reveal for you? Are you prepared for what's coming next? Let's talk about it, because the conversation doesn't stop here.